Picture it. I'm all dressed up for a night out, and my cousin tells me we have to make one quick stop first, at her sister's craft party. Now, I was not a crafty person. I went under protest. And today I'm going to tell you why that night changed the entire course of my life and why being good at craft had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Oh, that is quite the hook.
Right. Welcome to Things You Didn't Know About Being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, the series where we peel back the curtain and share what it's really like to be part of the Stampin' Up! Family.
Yeah, and whether you're, a happy hobbyist who loves a good discount or maybe someone curious about turning your creativity into something more, you're definitely in the right place.
Hosted by content from Kristy Coromandel, a paper crafter, creative coach, and team leader with the art of simple. Each deep dive, you'll hear personal stories, insider tips, and myth-busting truths about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so you can decide what Stampin' Up! Could look like for you.
And today's story is just, well, it's fascinating because it completely destroys this massive myth we all seem to believe about how humans learn.
Totally. So we're diving straight into that nightmare scenario I just described in the intro. This is Kristy's actual origin story from back in 2008.
Right.
She is dragged, completely against her will, by her cousin Claire to a Stampin' Up! Workshop hosted by Claire's sister, Debbie.
It's just the ultimate fish out of water moment, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Like, imagine you're wearing your nice going out clothes. You're mentally prepped for a relaxed evening.
You're probably expecting a bar or a restaurant.
Exactly. And instead, you are sitting at a table, holding a rubber stamp, looking at all this glue and paper, just thinking, how quickly can I possibly leave this room?
Your cognitive guard just goes right up. I mean, suddenly you're thrust into something requiring manual dexterity and public participation.
Yeah, and she was utterly convinced she didn't have what she called the crafting gene. Like, she expected to be completely hopeless at it.
Which is such a common defense mechanism. We assume we need a gene for this stuff.
But the wild twist here is that she actually loved it.
She did.
Not because she was suddenly some prodigy making catalog-perfect cards on day one, but because of the laughter, and just making something by hand. It completely bypassed her anxiety.
Well, okay, let's unpack this for a second because we do this to ourselves all the time.
We really do.
We see the Instagram perfect finished project, right? The flawless watercolor or whatever. And we assume that person was just born with a pair of paper snips in their hand.
Right. It's like watching a marathon runner and just, assuming they never had to learn how to walk.
Exactly.
We completely erased the wonky beginnings and those really crooked first attempts.
It's the fallacy of the born genius. And what's crucial about Kristy's story here is that her immediate joy came from the process.
The process.
Yeah, the process of creation and the community in that room. It didn't come from the pressure of the outcome.
Which is huge.
It is, because shifting your focus away from the outcome is pretty much the most important mindset shift you can make when learning anything new.
But I have to push back just a little bit here. I mean, surely there's some baseline of natural aptitude.
You think so?
Well, yeah. Like, if I have terrible fine motor skills and I'm practically gluing my fingers together, positive thinking isn't going to just magically make me produce a beautiful card.
It's tempting to think that way, for sure. But cognitive science actually points in a completely different direction.
Wait, really?
Yeah, especially for learned skills like paper crafting. Sure, maybe someone has slightly better baseline hand-eye coordination, but the idea of a specific crafting gene is really just a fixed mindset talking.
Ah, okay. The whole I am what I am and I can't change thing.
Right. When Kristy walked into that room, she assumed her abilities were static. But the gap between a beginner and a master isn't genetics. It's just hours of focused, really low-stakes repetition.
And the low-stakes part is what really jumps out to me in her story. Because 6 months later, the whole dynamic flips.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah. So they get invited back. And this time, Claire, the cousin who originally dragged Kristy, is the one just going out of sisterly duty.
Yeah.
But Kristy is the eager one. She is actively wanting to go back.
She transitions to intrinsic motivation. She just wanted that feeling of being in the room again.
She really did. And she committed to it. Like, Debbie eventually became a demonstrator and started running regular classes, and Kristy started driving over an hour each way just to attend.
Over an hour.
Right. For a hobby she supposedly had no gene for. But, and this is my absolute favorite detail from her notes, for a long time, she was literally the cheapest workshop guest ever.
She bought nothing.
Nothing? No stamps, no ink, no paper. She just showed up for the shared supplies, the tea, and the chatter.
And what's fascinating here is this perfectly illustrates the concept of the adult waiting room.
The adult waiting room. Okay, wait. Like, we treat our hobbies like waiting rooms.
Kinda, yeah. Think about a 5-year-old with a box of crayons.
Okay.
Nobody tells a 5-year-old they have to be good at coloring before they're allowed to enjoy it.
Oh, true. They just scribble everywhere.
Right. They just create, joyfully and chaotically. But as adults, we trade that joy for a waiting room.
So we wait for permission.
Yes. We wait for a permission slip of competence. We tell ourselves we can't enjoy an activity until we feel ready or good enough.
Oh, wow. When did we decide we have to be good at something before we're allowed to enjoy it?
Exactly the point. We lock our joy behind this wall of performance. But Kristy just bypassed it. She wasn't waiting to be a master crafter to enjoy the drive, the tea, or the people.
She just kept showing up. She never even made a grand plan to get good at it. And then one day, she just looks down and she's amazed at her own work.
Because the skill sneaks up on you.
It totally does. She actually wrote that skill wasn't the entry ticket. It was a souvenir collected along the way.
A souvenir of skill. I mean, that completely reframes the burden of learning, doesn't it?
It makes it feel so much lighter.
Ah.
But, okay, eventually, this low-stakes hobby has to hit the real world, right?
Right, the transition.
Yeah, because we know she becomes a demonstrator. And you'd think there was this cinematic moment where she stands up and declares, I am now an expert.
Cue the dramatic music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was actually just super pragmatic. It was a purely financial decision.
Which is usually how the biggest leaps happen, honestly.
Totally. So she eventually transitions from being the cheapest guest to wanting her own stuff. She starts buying little bits and pieces.
And then Debbie points out the math.
Yeah, Debbie tells her, look, you're actually spending more than the demonstrator minimum right now.
Right.
So Debbie suggests she just sign up to get the 20 to 25% discount on her own supplies.
No business plan on a napkin, no 5-year strategy.
Nothing. But here's where it gets really interesting, and I want your take on this.
Okay.
She joins for the discount.
Yeah.
But the pushback you might have, or a listener might have, is doesn't joining a company as a demonstrator mean you have to be a solo expert?
Oh, I see what you mean. The pressure.
Yeah, like you suddenly have to perform and teach all by yourself? Doesn't that isolate you?
You'd think so, but actually it was the exact opposite. Joining didn't isolate her. It meant she didn't have to teach herself alone in a corner anymore.
Oh, so she got access to more people.
Yes, she stepped into this massive learning ecosystem. She got access to tutorials, classes, and peers who were constantly asking, ooh, have you tried it this way?
Right.
It's all about social buffering.
Wait, social buffering, what does that mean in this context?
So when you learn alone, every mistake spikes your cortisol, your stress hormone.
Because you feel like a failure.
Exactly. But in a community surrounded by people also making mistakes and laughing about it, that stress is buffered. It's mitigated. Plus, you get the benefit of mirror neurons.
Okay, you're going to have to explain mirror neurons to me.
Sure. So mirror neurons are brain cells that fire not just when you perform an action, but when you watch someone else perform it.
Oh, so just by watching Debbie stamp a card?
Her brain was essentially practicing the physical movement.
That is wild.
Right. It totally shatters that whole crafting gene myth. Paper crafting is entirely a learned, teachable skill. You just need the right environment to observe and iterate.
Which makes total sense of why she runs her Back to Basics series now.
Exact.
She refuses to let anyone else believe the lie that she believed. And that natural progression from showing up to observing to making mistakes, it inevitably leads to teaching.
The organic leadership phase?
Yes. Because in 2011, she starts hosting her own classes. And again, she didn't audition for this. She didn't announce she was a master.
The community did it for her.
They really did. They saw her making things and just started asking, hey, could you show me how you did that?
And that's a massive point about authority. True authority in any field doesn't usually come from self-declaration.
Right. You can't just put expert in your bio and expect people to follow you.
Exactly. It comes from communal recognition. Kristy's community recognized her competence and handed her the leadership role.
And the best irony of all of this, her lack of a crafting gene is exactly what made her such an amazing teacher.
Because she remembered the struggle.
Yes. She remembered exactly what it felt like to be that reluctant person dragged to a table, feeling clueless in her nice clothes.
There's actually a term for the opposite of that. It's called the curse of knowledge.
The curse of knowledge. Okay, what is that?
It's a cognitive bias. Basically, experts often make terrible teachers because they've forgotten what it's like to not know the basics.
Oh, like when a math teacher skips 3 steps on the chalkboard because it's obvious to them, but the students are totally lost.
Precisely. The expert's skills are just unconscious muscle memory. But Kristy wasn't a born genius. She had to manually learn every single step, which gave her incredible cognitive empathy.
So she could break things down simply. She became the living proof for the next beginner.
Right. She can look at that terrified new person in the room and honestly say, I get it. I was you.
Which creates such a safe environment. You're not being taught by a different species of human who bleeds glitter.
No, you're taught by someone who just kept showing up.
So to wrap this all up, Kristy's story proves that the experts you admire, they aren't magically gifted. They just stayed in the room.
They didn't demand the skill as an entry ticket.
Right. You don't need a permission slip. You don't need innate talent. And you definitely don't need a business plan to start something that might just bring you joy.
Absolutely.
So for you listening to this deep dive right now, I want to leave you with a challenge. What would you try or start or finally say yes to today if you knew, hand on heart, that you couldn't get it wrong?
And, just to add one final thought to that.
Yeah, go for it.
If the fear of being bad at something is the only thing keeping us in that adult waiting room, we really have to ask ourselves, what hidden talents or profound friendships or just entirely new life paths are we actively locking ourselves out of right now simply because we refuse to let ourselves be a beginner?
Oh, that is so good. It all comes back to being willing to be a little uncomfortable. It might just change your life.
It certainly changed Kristy's.
It sure did. Well, thanks for tuning in to things you didn't know about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If today's deep dive got you thinking, or you'd love to explore what joining could look like, visit team.kristycoromandel.com to learn more about the Art of Simple Team, a supportive community where creativity and connection come first. Don't forget to follow this series so you never miss a deep dive. And I'll see you next time for another peek behind the scenes of Stampin' Up! Life.